he going next year when he graduates from high school? And then he said, Brett, I didn't have the heart to tell him that you were only 14 years old. So he said, I think you really do have an opportunity, worst case scenario, of finding a way to attend university here in Canada. And a lot of people don't realize this, but universities in Canada, they don't offer scholarships athletically. It's only academic scholarships. So the only real way to play football, and get a scholarship is coming stateside. So that wasn't even on my radar at that point in time. I was still wanting to be a baseball player, a pretty boy, in the gym, trying to get vascular, which it got harder and harder for me to do the more and more weight I put on. And yeah, it was just one of those things where I didn't really know that it was a possibility to become a scholarship football player in the U.S. Until I was probably around 15, 16.
Got you.
When you were our age, how did it feel to get on the field? And when you were on the field, see people that were 6'5" and nose tackles and stuff. 'Cause you played center, right?
Actually, no. In high school, I was a tight end and a defensive end. I was like 235.
Wow.
Before I went to Miami. So I was a lot lighter than you guys. You guys are different animals nowadays. The high school players nowadays are built like men that have done a couple years in prison, to be honest with you. So it was a shock culturally and physically for me to jump the border and come here and see. For the most part, I'm not going to lie to you, we didn't have a lot of black dudes playing on my team anyway. Back in the day, I think we had 2 black dudes on our whole team, and they were brothers. And a lot of the inner city kids that we were playing against, they had some monsters over there. A guy by the name of Lance Matthews and a guy, Roan Jacobs. I know there was a few other players that were athletically gifted. But when you have, 75 of them on your team running around down here at the University of Miami, it was an eye-opener. It was a definite eye-opener. And you could see the difference between a run-of-the-mill average kind of football player that likes to go to the beer store and smoke cigs during the week versus a finely tuned athlete like we see just about every day down here in high school sports nowadays.
Yeah. So what was it like coming from Canada to America where football is the main sport and that's what
Ironically enough, it was pretty impressive. Everybody pegged me as a baseball player, like I said, my whole life. So nobody really noticed Brett, the football player, to be honest, including my family. My family, the support really wasn't there wholeheartedly from my family. They thought it was more of a trip, to be honest with you, because let's face it, you ask a Canadian where do they like to go vacation. For the most part, it's Florida. So, and if you ask a Canadian now where Miami is on a map, they might not know. Because I didn't know growing up as a kid. I picked Miami because it was the furthest spot on a map that I saw. That, to be perfectly honest and frank. I know Jesse Palmer was trying to get me to go to Florida because I thought the alligator logo was cute. And I thought their colors were pretty cool. But for the most part, it was all Michigan State, Ohio State, like kind of Big Ten style football up where I'm at, right? And the end all be all was the Detroit Lions, or my favorite team was the Steelers growing up as a kid. Because I loved Greg Lloyd, and the only reason why I loved Greg Lloyd was because he was a karate guy, and he liked to do karate. So, football really wasn't on the map in Canada. It's grown considerably since, but for the most part, it's still a sport, much like soccer is here in the United States. It's growing progressively, but it's along that same kind of comparison level.
Yeah. You said you got scouted by a lot of teams, right? What made you different than other people in high school?
I think it was my speed and my flexibility. And I was never the guy that was going to be bigger than other people. Granted, yes, in the grand scheme of things, if you look at the average size of a man in the average population, we're all going to be bigger than them, to be honest with you. It is what it is. But when I got to the University of Miami, I realized that I am a small fish in a big pond. And I've always been labeled as the smaller center, but I was very quick, and my level of intelligence was always superseding the game plan. Like I was learning more about what that person is doing across from me, why they're doing it, what's causing that defense to line up that way. I was more about reading and understanding that, which would put me in a position, obviously, to play a lot better, to perform a lot better, and understanding the guys that I was playing beside, like your dad, Bibla. A lot of my offensive linemen that I played with both in college and in the NFL, I would learn their strengths and understand their weaknesses. That way we can play a lot better together.
Yeah, it's That's what a center has to do.
Yeah, man, absolutely, you have to. Centers are nowadays they're different. Like when I was playing in the NFL, I was super tiny. The only other guy that was my size was like Jeff Saturday for the Colts. Everybody else was like 6'4", 6'5", 310, 315, 320. Now you got the Jason Kelce's. Some of the centers that are playing in the NFL now are more 6'2", 6'3", maybe 300 pounds, 305, because they need to move a lot more, a little bit more schematic work, and they let the big dogs, the big guards, and the big tackles kind of handle the brute force of it. They want a guy that can pull around and get linebackers and stuff. So I was a little bit before my time, but if you ask a guy like Stepanovich or the old school guys, Ruddy for the Dolphins, there's a lot of guys. Webster, they were a lot smaller back in the day. So it seems to go in cycles.
Yeah.
So they have welcome to the NFL, welcome to college moments, or maybe a culture shock. What was your welcome to college or your culture shock when you came to Miami of all places?
Yeah, my culture shock getting to Miami was getting my ass beat in the locker room by Edgerrin James, Clint Hurt. I'm going to name names too. I'm going to call you guys out. Clint Hurt now I think he's like the assistant head coach or the GM or something like that of the Philadelphia Eagles. Adrian James, everybody knows EJ, Hall of Fame running back forever and a day. Probably one of the most successful post-football players that the University of Miami has ever produced. Him, Derek Ham. You're not allowed to sit on the couch. So I'll tell you a little story. When you get to Miami as a freshman, you're not allowed to sit on this couch. And it's a giant U-shaped couch, and there's a big TV, a big box TV that was in that locker room that played BET 24/7. So it was the same hip-hop videos and cycles all day long. And me coming from Canada in January, I was shoveling my driveway a couple days before I showed up. Now I'm laying by the pool, trying to see if I could scope out some college chicks, a couple days later. And I'm in the locker room, and I knew the damn rules. You're just, as a freshman, you cannot sit down. That's for the elder classmen and the seniors and stuff. And I said, you know what? I like to fight a little bit. I'm ready to kind of test the waters here. And Edgerrin walked in out of the training room. He was like, "Nah, Rook, got to get up. You got to get up. Can't sit on the couch, dog." And I was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna sit on the couch." And I said, "I'm gonna get this over with," because I knew I was gonna get my ass beat sooner or later, because initiation happens. And I don't know, nowadays they don't do initiation, but back in the day, you got your ass beat with your own shoes. So it was pretty bad. Lights go out. All of a sudden, all the seniors start screaming "whoop," and you're in trouble. You're in a lot of trouble. So I figured I might as well get this thing done early. EJ came, Clint Hurt came, Derek Ham came. I think even Mike Lawson might have got involved in it. And they just tackled me over the couch and started whooping my ass. You put up a good fight as much as you can, and then you earn your stripes. And that's how it kind of went down. And from then on out, it was, earning your respect. It is very similar to prison. Yes, it is, unfortunately. But I guess you could say it separates you from the "I want to go home" guys, and that had enough, that quit, and it really develops thick skin, and it might scar you psychologically for life, and you might have to spend a lot of money in therapy post, but I think it's all worth it.
So that actually reminded me of something. Your guys' nicknames were the Thugs.
Yeah, we were pretty thuggish ruggish, if you really want to go that route. Shout out to Bone Thugs and Harmony, Cleveland, Ohio. We got labeled that. I think it was the fatigue era as well, with Testaverde and those guys showing up, and the dreadlocks and the gold teeth and the Trick Daddy era, the early 2000s, late 90s. But I think we were, much like everything, we were kind of hated at the University of Miami. Everybody revered us behind closed doors, wanted to be us, wanted to be a lot like us, and weren't able to hang with us, to be honest with you. But they in order to go ahead and, if you can't beat them, you got to find a way to join them somehow or make fun of them and try to break them down. So I guess they labeled us as the thugs of college football.
Is that what you think made the 2000s, the early or the late 1990s, all that so dominant?
A lot of that, I think, goes to Butch Davis, to be honest with you. I think Butch Davis was one of the masterminds of rebuilding the University of Miami's program, much like Mario Cristobal had to do as well with, going from the ground up, the foundation, getting rid of some cancers, players, coaches, those kind of things, mindset, ideology, culture, all this stuff you keep talking about all the time. It's almost like a giant flush, you know what I mean? And I think that Butch Davis was pretty responsible for putting together that 99, 2000, 2001, and hell, even a couple generations after that until the team started losing again. But it's just like an accountability thing, to be honest with you. I think a lot of guys' character got put through the strainer. The cream rises to the top, whatever kind of metaphor you want to use. But the group of guys that put in that time, put in that work, and did everything that they were asked to do and then some, made all the difference in the world for that program. And I personally, and a lot of other people in the world of college football, don't think it'll ever be replicated or duplicated, but we sure as hell are going to try. Absolutely.
I'm curious. What type of guy were you in like college? Did you like after practices you like stayed out after and like partied and like?
Oh yeah, because I got a wife and kids now. No, I actually got hooked up with my wife in college. Rocco's dad probably has a lot of stories about me. To be honest with you, Joe, Rocco's dad was my college roommate for 1 year. And if you looked on his side of the room, it was, a lot of stereo and neatness and tidiness. And then my whole wall was nudes, to be perfectly honest with you. It was pictures I took out of magazines, and the whole wall was just all nudes. And, heaven forbid our parents would come and visit, or you had people kind of walking around and bringing guests over because there was 4 of us to an apartment. But yeah, mine was a little messed up. I had like black lights with empty Captain Morgan bottles, lit up with highlighters. Yeah, not a good example, to be honest with you, but we definitely, we worked our ass off. We worked hard, but a lot of us played hard too. We really did. We enjoyed the fruits of our labors, if you will.
I remember those stories.
Well, when you like get to hear the name Brett Romberg, like, what do you think people expect from that name? When they used to expect in like college, like going against him.
Yeah, well, I know like there was, I all American stuff and the best center in the country and that kind of thing, the Rimington Award, and it was always much like our team. It was somebody's highlight film. Like it was their opportunity to show what they could do against what the college world considered the best. And I always had my work cut out for me, but thank God our team was so damn good that I was usually done by halftime. To be honest with you, the backup center would go in, and I'd call it a day. But yeah, man, we were just so damn good. Every player was so good. I think a lot of us, the reason why we got our accolades and a lot of our titles and our individual awards was just because we were so good together. We just, as a group, we succeeded so much and so well and gelled so good together and played so well together that the independent award would never be an important thing for us, to be honest with you. I don't think we were that selfish individually. Collectively, yes, we wanted it all. We wanted to be the best. We wanted to beat the hell out of each other during the week and kick ass on Saturday. So, yeah, it was an awesome mindset that we had.
Yeah. And also, I have another question. So, for high school football teams, how important do you think chemistry is? Because you're talking about,
That's
from your
tough.
perspective.
That's very tough. That's a good question. I think chemistry is important in every aspect of life, whether it's in the workplace, at your office, in high school, whether you're an athlete or not an athlete, learning how to integrate with people and have conversations and understanding people's deficiencies along with understanding what they're really good at is going to make life a lot easier, both on the sports side of the world and on the professional side of the world. It's one of those things where you do have differences in terms of athletic abilities, clearly. But like I said, if you understand that your guard or your center or your tackle is really slow off the ball, or he sucks at reaching a guy, or his pass blocking, he's got bad feet, and you understand that as a guard or as a center, you're able to go ahead and shift your body over there, help him out a little bit more. You're able to cheat once in a while. And I feel like, we were really good at that. A lot of us had deficiencies. A lot of us did on that offensive line, which was considered like one of the best offensive lines around. And we really weren't all that awesome independently. But collectively as a group, the way we played together and how we had each other's backs, it really changed the landscape of how college football offensive linemen performed.
Wow. And do you also think it's necessary to have it for your D-line too? Chemistry with
D linemen are dumb.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, you just tell them where to go. You point, You'd be like, get that guy. Half the time they don't understand the play. They don't listen the other half the time. So I like to wreck on D linemen once in a while. But physical specimens, yes. Usually much more athletic than offensive linemen are. But just too dumb to play offensive line, to be honest with you. So are you guys, any of you guys defensive linemen, or you go both ways though, I hope,
I go
right?
both ways, yeah.
On the football field, I mean. Yeah, got it.
So speaking of D linemen, what would you say the hardest one you blocked? NFL, college?
Oh, God. Dominic Sue was pretty damn tough. I don't even know if he's still playing or not. He might be. He might be floating around as like an old vet somewhere. But Haloti Nada, he's a monster. He was for the Baltimore Ravens. James Harrison, and Hayward for the Pittsburgh Steelers back in that, you see on social media now where Ryan Clark is talking to the guys and trying to find out with Coach Tomlin who was the baddest defense around in the NFL. And it was that 2010, 2012 Pittsburgh Steelers defense that Troy Polamalu's ripping people's heads apart. Farrier, their linebackers, Casey Hampton up front in the nose tackle, James Harrison, who looks just as powerful and crazy now that he did when he was playing for the Steelers. Like Haloti Nada, spun my foot around, bent me over on the goal line and going against the Ravens. Baltimore on the goal line just smoked me. I had Hayward. I don't know if you guys remember that name. He was like the first $100 million defensive lineman. They ended up giving him that money from the Tennessee Titans to go over to the Tampa Bay Bucks. And I was warned during a game, don't take any cheap shots at him, because once Hayward flips a switch, he was 6'5", 350, 360. And once he flips a switch, it's kind of over with. Your day's done. He was a guy that stomped on Giroud, one of the Pro Bowl centers from the Cowboys' face one time, and he's just not a nice man, right? and I tried to give Hayward a little bit of a shove over the pile because our running back was behind him, and I tried to dump him. And he kind of grabbed himself and realized it, and then just picked me up by my elbows and kind of walked me back to the line of scrimmage. And I had my feet dangling like a puppet. It was pretty embarrassing. It was pretty embarrassing as a player. You figure you're in the NFL and you're 305 pounds as a center, and you could probably move a few people. But once that real grown man NFL sick talent gets a hold of you, and you gotta get realized, you're just a guy now. You're not that guy, pal. So
Yeah.
So I know this is kind of almost a reverse. What was it like winning a national championship?
Winning the Natty was a revenge. We were extremely pissed. The celebratory part of it, the Rose Bowl in California, in Pasadena, there, it was great to achieve it. But we knew all along from day one that we were going to do it, which is weird. We had such a bad taste in our mouth from that Sugar Bowl the year before, when we felt like we should have been in the national championship instead of Florida,
right?
Instead of Florida State. Yeah, we beat FSU that year. That was the Shockey touchdown in the end zone in the Orange Bowl, and I think that was 2000. Yeah, and we felt like we got robbed. We should have been playing against Oklahoma in the national championship that year. Mind you, it was the shittiest national championship game anybody's ever seen in the world. It was 6-13 or something. It was dry as a popcorn fart. It was a horrible game. Just nothing going on. So we were bitter. We were absolutely pissed. And we went into that following season, massive chips on the shoulders, wanted to prove to the world that we should have been there last year, and we're definitely going to do it again this year. And then that national championship was awesome, right? We smoked Nebraska, and then losing the one after it, playing in it, and then losing that one in Pasadena against Ohio State was pretty horrible.
Worst call of all time?
Worst call of all time. Porter. I still know that ref's last name. Guy lived 3 miles from campus up in Columbus, Ohio. Porter. Not Joey Porter. What was his name? Something Porter. Yeah, I remember that guy.
Was what? It was a whole minute later, wasn't it?
It was 8 seconds. 8 seconds after the play was over with. We won, and I had to. I pulled my helmet off, and confetti was actually coming down, and we were all celebrating. And I'll never forget, man, they had to put the O over top of the U on the one trophy, because they already put the U on the trophy. That's how long and delayed that call was, of the pass interference call. And I remember not putting on my helmet, but getting my helmet out of the box 4 years later when I was with the Jaguars. I pulled that out of a box, and it still had that confetti in it from that national championship game. So yeah, it was a sad reminder. I went to bed sucking my thumb that night.
Wow. Well, how does it feel to like? How did it feel being undrafted? Like, being like, how was your mindset after that?
Worst day of my life.
You pissed?
I was furious. One of the worst days of my life. It was a giant kick in the junk. That's for sure. It was kind of a blessing in disguise, though. If you ask me about it, my wife told me that I was acting like a hothead, a prick, an idiot. I thought I was. Even my agent, Rosenhaus, like we all were thinking I was either going to be the second center picked or the third center picked, and it was going to be a second, third round kind of situation. That's where they all had me. Everything had me at that round. But then once one or two of the teams that was supposed to pick you passes on you, the rest of the NFL thinks that there's something's up. Like they found out something in a physical, they figured something out, and I just kept dropping. And I think they ended up drafting like 6 centers that year or something like that. And yeah, I wasn't one of them. So it was pretty. I think in the 4th or 5th round, I looked at my mom and I told Rosenhaus, if any team calls, tell them I'm not playing football anymore. I want to quit. I'm out. Like I had such an ego. I was such an arrogant young kid that it was something that I'm glad happened to me, because to be honest with you, if I was like a 2nd round pick and I got a little bit of money in my pocket up front, I would have been out of the NFL in a few years.
It was like an ego check, right?
Yeah, totally ego check. It made me once again deal with adversity, deal with overcoming stuff, fight. Like I thought I was going to be done with the NFL after my 3rd year, to be honest with you, and I thought I was done. And then 5-6 years later, I'm still there, starting, like earning a position, working, and continually fight, because I think the University of Miami just instills stuff like that in you. So it was a gradual build, but that not being drafted that day was rough, boy. Oof, that was a tough day for me.
So I don't know the exact word for it. I guess you call it like a fatal flaw. Yours was, I believe, your arm length, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's hard to see on camera, but I got short appendages. I got a long torso, so yeah, my arms aren't as long as what you think they would be, but. Do I have a hard time putting my hands in my pockets? Sometimes, yeah. It depends how high I got my shorts pulled, but yeah, that was the big knock on me, was my arm length. They thought I was going to be able to play at the NFL level due to my arm length, and I never even knew I had short arms, to be honest with you, until the defensive line coach at UM started calling me like carny arms. Like I had like carnival arms, like little short carnival arms. I had no idea what the hell he was talking about, to be honest with you. And then I learned that I was like, yeah, my arms are a little bit shorter than the average guy. It sounded great in the weight room, bench press wise, worked out real well for me, but trying to go against a defensive tackle who can give you full extension and he's locking you up and you can't even touch his jersey, it made a little bit of a difference. I understood how important those numbers are, but again, you get a lot of guys nowadays that are playing football with shorter arms that are doing very, very well, minus the Patriots left tackle in the Super Bowl. I know that was a big story this past with him. Yeah, all-world blocking guy, phenomenal tackle, tough as hell. And his short arms kind of got the best of him too in that Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. And he said before, when he got drafted, he would protect him with his life.
Yeah. That was, again, you can overcome a lot of things, whether you're intelligent or you're tough or you're in great shape. But if that guy is all of those things and he's got longer arms than you, you're in a world of trouble.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Well, see, you were in the NFL, right?
Yep.
You went to the tryouts, right?
Yeah, I went to the combine where they invite like 200 and something people to the combine. I think it is, whatever the draft class is scheduled to be up in Indianapolis. Combine experience sucked. That wasn't good either. You get shuttled around by a bunch of different people. The running and doing the drills is cool. That's the fun part about it. But getting sent through MRI after MRI, any injury that you might have had in college or high school, even for that matter, the NFL teams are investing a lot of money in you, a lot. So whether they have police following you, background checks going on, psychiatrists giving you 380 questions. I'm being dead serious. I think the New York Giants questionnaire is 380 questions or something like that. Multiple choice, A, B, and C. And it's as weird as you're walking down the street, you got a dog on one side, a cat and an alligator on the other. What side of the street do you choose to walk on? and it's like A, B, C, and D, and it's like this has nothing to do with anything other than like psychologically profiling you to find out if you're either going to quit on them, you're only there for the money, you're going to fail drug tests, whatever it might be. You know, there's just always something that when they're investing all that time and money and resource into you as a player, they want to be very, very sure that they're getting what they're paying for.
So when you did make it to the NFL, what was the biggest adjustment like that you had to deal with, whether it was the speed of the game, how much stronger people were, bigger?
It is the speed of the game. Like, I'll never forget when I came back to watch UM play, I think my first year in the NFL, mind you, only being in the NFL for months at this point in time, it looked like I was watching paint dry. So imagine, like, I think that 2003 University of Miami Hurricane team was really damn good as well. And I think Brock Berlin was the quarterback. So they were still in the top 5, top 6 in the country. And it looked like I was watching Pee Wee football. Like, that's how slow it looked to me. So yes, the speed of the game is, compounded tremendously. Every athlete, you might have 3 or 4 guys on a college team that can make the NFL. I mean, like, make it regardless of getting drafted or not first all the way through. Maybe 3 or 4 guys on a collegiate roster that can make the NFL. And every single dude you're going against, no matter what. He could be a Jamoke, walk on, free agent, whatever. That guy's amazing. He's always going to be good. He's going to test you. He's there fighting for. The worst part about the NFL, ladies and gentlemen, is it's a job. He's there fighting to put food on his table for his family. Paying a mortgage, it's lethal. And there's a lot of politics that go on in the NFL. So, for instance, if there's a first-round draft pick that sucks, you better believe that he's going to be playing over the 5th or 6th or 7th round draft pick who's a lot better than him. But due to the fact that the administration made a mistake, or those psychologists made a mistake, or a doctor made a misdiagnosis on a kid's knee or ankle, they're going to be playing the kid that they're investing a lot of money in, regardless of his performance or not. Like, you could have a coach sit up there on TV all day long and tell you all we want to do is win. It don't matter. If you get the phone call from upstairs, from the owner of the team, from the general manager saying that this guy has to play no matter what, then that guy's going to be playing no matter what. So the business side of the NFL is probably the second most eye-opening thing aside from the speed.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. It's a job. It's, you're a professional at that point in time. That's your hard hat. That's your helmet. You go to work every day. You come home. You sit with your family. You eat dinner. You bring your work home with you sometimes. You might have had a bad day at the office. You might have got your ass kicked on the field. You go home, you watch film, you find a way to get better the very next day, and rinse, recycle, repeat.
Yeah. With your short arms, did you ever have a game
God,
where you were
just wrecking me with these freaking arm questions, huh?
Did you ever have a game where you're like, damn, I hate my arms?
No, bro. No, dude. When I was playing, I like to highlight my arms. Yeah. I went out and got a tattoo down my arm, and just so I could have it on TV. Every Friday we did curls for the girls. I didn't want to make them too big though, because it made them look shorter. That was my only concern. And especially my arm is on TV and starting to play every single time. So my arm's getting on TV like 75, 80 times a game, right? So I tried to make it look longer as much as I could, like hiding it with maybe a wristband up here, trying to be cute. I had some gloves on, and but for the most part, I knew what I had, and that's another thing. You know what you're good at and what you're not good at. You know your deficiencies, and you find a way to get better in other things. Shit you can't control, man. But you can control your effort, your work ethic, your intelligence of what's going to happen, your game planning, watching film. Those are all the things that you can control. So any kind of like physical deformity that you might have, or deficiency, better said, you just deal with it.
Yeah. So being a lineman, O-line, the D-line, they talk trash. They do all that. What's the funniest thing you think you've heard either at practice from your own teammates against another team that you think you've heard a D-lineman or O-lineman say?
We were kind of messed up in the head. We like to blow kisses and pinch butts. That was our thing. I tried to go the comedic route with you're out there trying to tear each other apart. Everybody wants to be violent. Everybody wants to look like a tough guy. I was the guy that would blow a kiss or smack a guy in the butt or pinch him or maybe do a front tap on him or something like that. Or I just talk about how there was a guy, Dan Klecko, Perfect example. We ended up playing together in the NFL later on too. His dad was the legendary defensive lineman for I believe it was the Jets, right? Klecko was awesome. He ended up playing for the Patriots for a long time, and then he joined up with us in the Falcons. But Danny was a defensive tackle from Temple. Super undersized, super small, but fast as hell, super strong, and he had blue eyes. And I just used to love talking to him before, and after every play about just how pretty his eyes were. I was like, Danny, you got the most pretty blue eyes, dude. And he'd start giggling. And if you could get a guy out of his game plan and like mentally beat him up, the physical part is going to be easy. Eventually, that guy's going to be so focused on why the hell is he talking about my blue eyes and why is he pinching my ass that the other things kind of fall into place pretty easily.
Wow. So, again, back to that kind of stuff. I've heard my own stories. What do you think the funniest like prank or joke or anything you've had in the locker room, a situation like that?
God, there's so many. There's so many like disgusting, horrible, R-rated, stuff that they could probably talk about on the dark web that happened. But trying to keep it relatively clean. There's guys that get taped up, bare ass, or you get their car keys and wrap them in the stuff that you make a cast with, and you throw it in the bottom of the cold tub, and then you throw him in the cold tub. There's a lot of demasculine kind of stuff going on. Eating each other's food, peeing in each other's Gatorade jugs, stealing. Yes, the stealing of the food was a brutal thing. Your dad, regardless. Grabbing toothbrushes, using toothbrushes in places that toothbrushes really don't need to be used. Anything to find a way to get a leg up on somebody. Taking somebody's girl away from them was another pretty good one as well, causing some turmoil within the room. It was no holds barred, talking about each other's sisters, moms, going after guys' sisters. It's ruthless, man. It's really enough to get you committed. You're not allowed to walk around in society, some of the stuff that we did, but thank God, again, no cell phones. That would get you in some serious heat back in the day. So whether it's guys throwing M80s, those little firecrackers that are like little sticks of dynamite in toilets, blowing those things up, throwing mattresses out of windows, selling people's stuff in yard sales. It was you're renting somebody's house and then all of a sudden you're selling all their gear. We ran the gamut in college. Stuff that you definitely cannot get away with today.
So, no names. I heard the story of the guy, I think he was in the shower. Actually, it was two of them. One got taped to a wall. Another, I think, got tied up with shoelaces naked.
Yeah, that happens in the NFL too, by the way. We did after a night practice. I'll never forget with the Rams. We ended up duct taping one of the rookies to the field goal post, and his family was there and everything. Man, that poor guy had a family. He had wife and kids and the whole thing. Mom was there in town. Yeah, me and Richie Incognito. I don't know if you guys remember that name or not, but Crazy Richie and I. We like to inflict a little bit. I was supposed to be his babysitter. That was the sad part about it. They put me in charge of Richie Incognito, so that wasn't good. That wasn't good at all. Little fuel on the fire with that guy, but it happens all the time. I think once you get to that level of you're that much of an elite athlete, you're making that much money, you're revered. People put you on a pedestal for some apparent reason. You're considered a celebrity. I think that. I think that you need to get brought back down to reality once in a while. You aren't who you think you are for the most part. So, it is a little bit of a camaraderie gut check, if you will.
Do you think that's just part of the culture or like?
Yep, 100%. That caveman mentality, I know it's gotten a lot softer since 2012. It wasn't because I exited the NFL that year, but things have gotten softer, man. Like you hear Tom Brady talking about it. You hear them all talking about it. Like guys would get their heads taken off. You literally were worried about. You had 3 practices a day, first of all. Nowadays, I don't even know if you have 3 practices a week, to be honest with you. And I'm talking padded. You have 2 padded practices in the day in 100-degree heat here in Miami, and you're walking around at night running. They call it a walkthrough. It was never a walkthrough. It was run through. And you're sweating your ass off at 9 o'clock at night too. Like it was just brutal. The brutality of whether it was the physical demand of it or the in shape, the lack of diet, guys. Like even with the Rams, an NFL franchise, was serving us pizza for lunch. Nowadays, you guys can't even touch a pizza without like your dietitian that's hired by your institution or your school smacking your hand. But yeah, like they were like feeding PF Chang's. Shout out. Like the freaking Rams were sending PF Chang's to our play. Like there's no way a professional athlete whose body is supposed to be his moneymaker, his machine, should be eating pizza and PF Chang's. Like you just shouldn't. Like you're not going to perform well. It is what it is.
The recommendations from some of our coaches were just chug chocolate milk.
Just chug chocolate milk.
Yeah, that's what our coaches told us. We have one kid who needs to gain some weight.
What are you guys, 4? Did you eat it with Fruit Loops too, or no? What are you guys doing? Chocolate milk.
I'm good. I'm 305.
My 7-year-old gets chocolate milk in the morning every morning with a straw.
I love chocolate milk.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I like it too. It's pretty good.
Who do you think the best teammate you ever had was?
Best teammate I ever had. God, I really believe my offensive line crew, bro. Like me, your dad, Bibbs, Joaquin. We were all full-fledged degenerate retards, and I can say retard because Donald Trump's back in office, but. We were just kids. Like, I don't care. You get us all together. You see us when we get together. We're morons. We're still morons at like 45, 46 years old. Morons. Like 19, 21-year-old kids. It's, you get asked all the time, are you ever going to grow up? And hell no. No, definitely not. No, we're still morons, cavemen, meathead. We have to wear a professional kind of hat once in a while, but deep down inside, man, we're still degenerates, to be honest with you. So,
shout out Joaquin. I owe him that steak dinner. That's an inside joke.
Yeah, I heard about the steak dinner. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
In the NFL draft, like, were you ever petty to the teams?
Bro, between my arms and not getting drafted, this guy's killing me right now.
Yeah.
What are you asking me? What are you saying?
Petty to the teams. Like, you played against the teams that were supposed to draft you.
Oh yeah. Did I have salt? Yeah, absolutely, man. Salty balls, no doubt about it. I hated Denver because Denver was a team, like they had me on their draft, like they had me on their website and everything talking about drafting me. And I didn't like that. And then when I left the Rams, because there was like 3 center exchange and I went to St. Louis. Oh, actually, when I left St. Louis to go to Atlanta, I came back and played against St. Louis. And because they didn't want to give me my contract, bro, I was hot. So I was lit up and I was a lot stronger when I got to Atlanta, too. I'm not saying PEDs had anything to do with it, but the strength coach was freaking incredible. I learned that your bench press is only going to get as strong as those little muscles that you have behind your shoulders. I learned about core. I learned about lower back stuff. I learned how important like the mini things were, the preparation, the banding, the rolling around on the ground. Hell, like when I was in the Rams, I think we squat, power cleaned, and bench pressed, and maybe curls, and it was an Olympic style kind of lifting program. But a lot of injuries happened at the Rams, and when I got to Atlanta, bro, we were on all cylinders, just faster, stronger, better, cleaner. And I'll never forget when I played against those defensive linemen that were still at the Rams. They asked me if I was on that gas. Like during the game, they're like, "Oh hell no, Romberg, you're on that junk." Wow. And I was like, "Nah, bro, I'm not on that junk. I'm on that like grown man." And I'll tell you this, like I was strongest when I was like 32, 33 years old in the NFL. Like I had that grown man strength. And there's a big difference between being able to bench 500 pounds in a weight room or being able to grab a 300-pound man who does not want to be grabbed. And you'll get that as you get older. But man, hell, like I was a lot stronger when I got to Atlanta. And I made sure that the Rams understood how strong I got.
Like, did they feed you PF Chang's in Atlanta?
No, hell no. We had cooks in Atlanta. We had our lady there that brought me the hot rolls all the time. You know those little crescent hot rolls that you get Pillsbury hot rolls. She would always come in, and we were sitting at a table, and she was like, "Oh, boys, you want your hot rolls? I'll be careful now. They hot. They hot." So, oh god, she was awesome. So, dude, yeah, the Atlanta Arthur Blank was a different owner. Arthur Blank, the guy that owns Home Depot and owns the Falcons and stuff, he was a great owner. He really wanted to make sure that his players and his team were taken very good care of. The Rams were always like, up until obviously the Kroenke family, the Rams were always in limbo. Like the original owner passed away, and he gave it to his wife, and she would have us sit around. Like imagine 320-pound, 350-pound men sitting in a circle while she's trying to read us a story after we just got done playing an NFL game, and she's handing out cookies. Like there was some jacked up stuff that went on. Wow. So yeah, the Atlanta Falcons organization was pretty good.
Yeah. So you actually had your own show. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, man. Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. I dabbled in the media world for a while. I started in the radio business. We had the #1 radio show in the morning down here in South Florida for like 4 years. And then kind of pivoted a little bit and did that along with analyst work, broadcast work on TV. So I started doing Conference USA college football. So like your Marshalls and your UTEPs and not West Virginia, UAB and FIU and a few other schools like that. And I did that for like 3 or 4 years too. So that was pretty cool. And then I think COVID hit, and I was kind of done with it for a while. And then we started up my own show. Did my own show in Doral for like a year, and kind of got tired of that for a while. And that was it, really. I decided we had our 3rd kid at that point in time, so I wanted to make sure I was home and be able to spend time with my kids. Because my whole thing was, we didn't have any kids until I was finished playing football. So after that, knocked 3 of them out, and then I wanted to spend as much time as I possibly could with those. So I was able to achieve that, luckily, thankfully.
So do you have any advice for us? Because we're obviously new to this.
Having kids? No, don't.
No.
Getting married? No, don't.
Not that.
Don't. I'll tell you right now, that's my advice. Don't. People say no to drugs. I say no to wives and kids. Don't. But what do you got? What kind of advice are you looking for?
So obviously started the show. It's episode 7, right?
Yeah.
So episode 7.
Congratulations.
We're new to this.
Thank you.
What is some advice that you can give us from someone that's been in that space for a long time?
Be involved with the person that you're talking to. Not necessarily like I never really needed to do any homework on people when I was interviewing people or talking to people for that matter. I would be so interested in that person's success, but not the Instagram version of their success. I wanted to know what they did at night to make them successful, what they did during the day, why you, why them? Because I found myself asking myself those same questions. And then as I got older, I realized, a lot of my buddies would be at the bar. A lot of my buddies would be on the couch. They were celebrating Thanksgiving and Christmas with their families. I wasn't. I was always, I used to get dropped off after football practice, after school, by this thing called the activity bus in high school. And I would go directly to the gym. And I would be at the gym from 6:30 at night till maybe 9:30. Granted, I spent a half an hour of it in the tanning bed. But I was just there to work my ass off, man. Like, I didn't want to go home. Like, there was nothing good for me at home. No good path for me, to be honest with you. Like, there was no buddies that were doing the same thing that I wanted to do or become or wanted to be successful. There was nothing really like that for me. So I felt like the only way I could do this is by driving myself and finding my inner passion and stuff. And I was always so intrigued with, I never called it Sundays, because Sunday's obviously the day that everybody plays in the NFL, but I wasn't really concerned about Sunday. I wanted to know about what happened Monday through Saturday. I wanted to know how you became so good, why you became so good, what made you a better person. So if anything, the way that I would approach this platform or any kind of podcast or anybody that you guys want to talk to or find out, it's just everybody already sees the success. Everybody can see that stuff. Everybody sees the nice car you drive. Everybody sees the house you live in, the boat you ride around in. But nobody really understands what you did or sacrificed or what it took to get that. Mm-hmm. So I think the more people find out about bringing that out of somebody and understanding that, I think the world will be a better place. I think the people will be a lot better people and not so shallow and centered around looking good for 2 seconds in an Instagram photograph and then realizing their whole life is falling apart. So I think that, like, focusing on that, like, your moral compass, your groundedness, and finding out what makes that about somebody.
When you were talking just about like you being different than everybody else in high school, you went to the gym, you didn't go home to Christmas. How did that also happened in college?
Yeah,
and the people
man,
noticed.
I never went home in the summer either. I went home my first summer. I went home for the first summer session, and put on like 25 pounds because I ate and drank my face off, and got back and suffered the consequences for that. But I never went home again. That was it. That was my last time going back to Canada. I was 19 years old, so that was it, man. Like I never looked back. It was 19-year-old kid. I said, screw this. I'm making the decision to make something of myself, to be somebody. And that was it, man. I just had my head down, and I considered the people that I had around me, my family, the coaching staff, the strength coaches. You spend a lot more time with your strength coach than you do with your coaching staff, to be honest with you. So Swayze was incredible. Coach Swayze, Andrew Swayze, a lot of guys echo the same sentiment of like, what is owed to that man for what he built for us at the University of Miami as well. So, yeah, man, it just blinders on, like I think it's been said multiple times, but if you look at anybody that's ultimately successful in their life, it's because they don't listen to other people when they tell them you can't, you're not able to, that's going to be difficult. That's going to be tough. And, the people that often say that to you are the ones that ain't got shit going on in their life, to be honest with you. Like, I think you surround yourself with people that have ambition, that are able to overcome turmoil and adversity, and it becomes contagious. Like, it's a friendly form of competition. You want to be just as good or better than your buddy. It's like your father. Your father always wants you to be better than him. And I feel like everybody on that football team always wanted to be better than the guy next to him. And it just kept, building and building and building. And when you surround yourself with people that want to be great, usually you end up becoming great as well.
Were any of those like friendships, were they like rivals, or were they like friendly rivals?
Always a friendly rival.
Always.
Always. Like Vince Wilfork. Man, I talked to Big V 2 days ago. My man's launching his barbecue sauce. Shout out to Big Vince. Go get his barbecue sauce. It's out of control. Yeah, like me and Vince would go at it all the time. William Joseph would go at it all the time. Like when I got to the NFL, they're not so much in the NFL. You kind of hated the guy across from you a little bit, but you spend 4 years, and which is tough nowadays because nobody's really spending 4 years together at high school sports or college sports anyway, for that matter, due to the transfer portal and all that other stuff. But you kind of develop a family type of atmosphere with everybody. So yeah, it was always friendly.
Did you ever like wish to transfer from Miami?
Never.
Or not transfer, like leave? Never.
Never, not once.
Yeah.
Did I want to quit? My first summer, I was almost ready to quit. I was on that fence, man, that I talked about at the beginning of the podcast. Was, you either quit and go home or you push through. But never wanted to switch from the University of Miami. Like I was pot committed, man.
Yeah.
And that whole waiting your turn thing, which doesn't exist today. A lot of people are very impatient, immediate gratification with the social media. They want to be immediately gratified on the football field too. So it's tough. It's very, very tough. But sticking it out and pushing through all that adversity and earning a spot on a football program and a team and whatever, regardless of your position or spot on that team, I think is imperative.
So, as someone who's gone through all that adversity, sacrificed all that, what is advice, like the best advice you can give someone who's also going through a lot of adversity, sacrifice, wanting to quit, and maybe it's football related, maybe it's school, maybe it's mental, maybe it's something else? What's the best piece of advice you can give them?
It will pay off, 150%. It's like people that get upset of an outcome that they didn't put forth any effort originally into. It's like, no, I should have been a national championship. Why? What did you do to be a national champion? I should have got an A on that test. Why? What did you study? Or how did you prepare? Like, why would you expect anything other than the shit that you've been dealt? So if you prepare hard, you work hard, sometimes the outcome is not the way you wanted it to be, but eventually it will be. There's no replacement for hard work and effort. There really isn't. Like there isn't. And there's a lot of athletes out there and guys that are undersized and people that aren't smart enough or were considered not smart enough to prove you wrong. Like there's a laundry list of them. It's like Jimmy Johnson said, man, like what makes people extraordinary is that little extra. So, I'm a firm believer in hard work and effort. It will always pay off.
Yeah.
So, one more thing.
You got a lot of goddamn one more things, huh? You got a lot of them.
as someone who honestly didn't play football for that long, I think this is my third or fourth year now. Do you believe that football? Well, bad question because yes, but even for someone who just played it in high school, do you think that it was
to be resilient, to overcome maybe an injury, learn how to manage time, and kind of get your priorities in line? I think that's what high school football does. Then you get the next level. And the next level is obviously a lot more dedicated, a lot harder working, more responsibility, learning to balance your life a little bit better. But I think that what people fall short on is when they get to that university level is the networking and the connections, because not everybody's going to the NFL. Not everybody's a great football player. Not everybody's going to go to the NFL and make a shit ton of money to the point where they don't have to work ever again. So I think that a lot of guys and girls, for that matter, in collegiate sports, use the platform that you're on as a networking platform. Attend events, go to social events that teams are at, and shake people's hands and look at them in their eyes and remember their names. Say it 3 or 4 times as you're shaking their hand, because you never freaking know. You never know at the end of the day when you might need somebody, some help, a position, a boost. Like a poor kid that you made fun of in class because he was a nerd or a loser. Now he's probably running a badass company, and all of a sudden you, your brother, maybe your kids might need a job in the future. And that's the guy that you should have never pissed on. And that's the reason I feel like networking, and especially at the collegiate level and nowadays, somebody's mommy or daddy owns a company, runs a company, has a company. You might need something. Mm-hmm. And if you were always a great person, you didn't need to go out of your way to be a sweetheart or suck up to anybody, but you just always showed people respect. You had a great moral compass on you, a great character of a person. You shook their hand, you said hi to them, you introduced yourself, you spoke well. That stuff goes a lot further than sports, than football. So I highly recommend that.
Say to yourself, tell about your wife, football.
Tell me about it, man. Yeah, like talking about out-kicking coverage. You know what I mean? Tell me about it. Yeah, wow. Married an attorney. So I was my retirement package right there. That's what I was thinking.
You got anything?
No, I'm just surprised. Like, this is our longest episode.
I have a tendency to talk.
Yeah, and
once in a while.
I'm like inspired. You inspired me.
Thanks, bro. I know you're looking at me kind of like you're taking it in. Like I can see you. Like, holy shit. Yeah, okay. It's resonating. Yeah, dude, that's good. That's awesome. That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
You played 8 years, right?
9 years. 9 years in the league. Yep. Yeah.
9 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you think that? Well. What's the average? It's like
average is 2.5, right? Yeah, 2.5 years.
So
does everybody know why it's 2.5?
Because at 3 years you get your little care package.
Yeah, 3 years. So 3 seasons and 3 games is when you're considered a vested football player with the NFL. So your pensions, your 401ks, your medical coverages, a lot of whatever goes on in the NFL when it comes to the bonus stuff, that happens usually at that point in time. So, and your salary usually cranks up a little bit too, even minimum wage. Then they'll go out and they'll go get a kid that's going to cost them $500,000 versus somebody that's going to cost them $1.8 million just so they could save, a little over $1 million on a salary cap. So that's the reason why the average NFL career is that short.
What's the best advice? Like, maybe actually, let me rephrase that. What do you think got you to play so long? Like, what do you think mentally, physically?
You know what? Honestly, the serious recipe in order to stay in the NFL is being a great locker room guy. Udonis Haslem did it with the Heat forever and a day. You don't exactly have to be the best. You don't got to cost them a lot of money either. But if you're able to be reliable and accountable, like for instance, the center goes down. For me, at the end of my career, it was like guard and center, right? Mm. I went from one day having to go against the Super Bowl champ Green Bay Packers one day to sitting on the bench and not doing anything for 3 weeks. Just wearing a football helmet and shoulder pads, dressing for a game. So as long as the coaches know that you are going to be reliable enough that you're going to get in there and not get Matt Ryan or your starting quarterback killed, who they're paying hundreds of $millions for, that you're going to at least be a speed bump for a defensive lineman and slow him down a little bit, and know your shit. Like know your game, know your plays, know what's happening. As long as the coaches aren't going to lose their job for putting you in, I think you're good. I think you'll gain an extra year or 2 out of the NFL, to be honest with you, and it will make a massive difference.
So what was it like for you? And you said by the end of the career, you were playing a little bit less guard and all that. What was it like when you finally were over with it? What was your life like afterwards, and how did it affect you?
The transition from the NFL? Well, I ended up having a heart attack, so which was good. It kind of sealed the deal for me. That was a bad thing. And then, but yeah, learning how to find yourself, because again, you spent your whole life playing football. From the time high school on, and every waking moment and minute and was either spent in a gym or on a football field. So it's tough to find yourself. It's tough to identify and change from Brett Romberg, the football player, to like Brett Romberg, the radio guy, or Brett Romberg, the insurance guy, or whatever you're going to move into your next stage of your life. A lot of guys have a lot of trouble with that. There's a lot of depression that goes on with it. So you see suicide, and unfortunately, guys go broke and get divorced relatively quickly too after the NFL. But I feel like the more you can expand your palette of things that you want to do and be good at, and keep yourself grounded, I think that transition becomes a lot easier. And again, staying in touch with friends and people that you might have networked and done business work with at the collegiate level or high school level or internships, I think that makes a big difference too.
I mean, the nice part is you have lifelong friends. Obviously, my dad is still friends with you, Bibla, Gonzalez, all of them.
Yeah, man.
I've gotten to hang out with them, Ken Dorsey, Ed Reed, all these amazing players that it's crazy that you have all these connections after what, 20-something years?
Yeah, and it's literally like we just got done playing together yesterday. And you seem to be in the same mindset that I am, because granted, like it's weird because like they're all your dad's friends, and you get to meet him on like a personal level, And I felt the same way. I never looked at Ed Reed or Clinton Portis or Willis McGahee or Jeremy Shockey or hell, you name it, anybody for that matter that I played with, or Vince Wilfork, as like, oh my God, that's, whereas a lot of people do see that. When you can look at a man eye to eye and kind of call him your equal, and as a friend and as a brother and a teammate, I feel like that's a special bond that is almost impossible to break.
I actually have a funny story that reminded me of. First time I met Ed Reed, I think I was either in 5th or 6th grade, and I went to the Miami, I think it was like their first practice or something.
Okay.
And they had all the people out, all the alumni, all that. And my dad introduces me to this guy named Ed Reed. I had no clue who he was. I think I talked to him.
Some old scruffy looking black dude with like gray hair going up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably talked to him for 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Long conversation. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh, who was that? My dad was like, that's Ed Reed. I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. He goes, you know who that is, right? I said, I have no clue. Yeah. And then he told me.
One of the greatest ever.
he just started laughing.
Yeah. It is pretty remarkable. It is. It's weird. Like every year you go look and watch, NFL Hall of Fame, who's getting inducted, who's on the ballot, and shit. Half the time you played with these guys. You know what I mean? So it's definitely something very, very special, and it's an honor, and it's a badge that I carry all the time with me.
Well, those. Yeah, I'm just taking it in. Yeah.
You shook.
In other words,
cool.
He doesn't know what to say.
Good. Yeah, that's good. I did my job then. So episode 7, huh, fellas?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So should we stay tuned for the future of episode 8 and find out what's going on there?
Yes. So shout out PowerUp Studios. Calavant. Shout out Calavant. Thank you for our sponsors. Thank you so much for coming out here.
Man, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure. That's another thing, man. Like, anytime that any of us pick up the phone and call each other, it's usually met with an unbelievable, exciting response of whatever you need, I'm there for you. So, it's cool to still be in the circle.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you came. I'm glad that I was able to, or you know what I mean.
Happy birthday, too. Shout out, man. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's Mr. Fanagrassi's birthday today, 16. 16, old enough to drink and drive now. No, you can't, right? No. But you got the license going on. Good. That's awesome. Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Stay off
Thank
the
you.
road. Stay off the road.
What do you got here?
Here you go,
Un
Rocco.
regalito, un potre. Oh, mire eso. Oh, what is that? Ah, feliz cumpleaños.
Thank you.
Don't like bro.
Gordito. Even eating on camera. You can't hide the fat kid, man. You can never hide the fat kid, ever.
They're not gonna like save some
Skinniest
for us.
305 ever.
That's it.
You're not gonna save some for us.
I will save some. I took a little bite out of the side. You're good.
I'm scared.
I'm scared.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, no. Oh, okay, good.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for coming.
Hit that like button. Hit the little bell. Subscribe.
You better do a better closing than that.
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
damn it.
You do it better.
Hold up. Sorry, there's chocolate everywhere.
One more time. One more time.
Thank you, Brett Romberg, for coming on. I'm Rocco.
Yes.
Sebas. See you next time. Episode 8. Stay tuned. On top of that, go ahead and click the link down below. Watch us on YouTube. Welcome to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. What the hell is this thing called again?
Big
Talk.
Big Talk. I like it. Good name.
Bye, guys.
Oh my God.
Perfect.